Hi team. Thank you. I want to welcome you guys to Susana's reevaluation. Um, I want to start off by saying I appreciate all your guys' feedback. Mom, Dad, thank you for being here. Today we're going to talk about Susana's reevaluation and what Ms. Tona figured out based on her reevaluation testing. But before we get started, I want to go ahead and introduce the team. I am Mrs. Martinez. I am Susana's case manager and special education teacher. We also have Mrs. Magana, who is Susana's math teacher. We have Mr. Larson, who is the science teacher. Mr. Gropp, who is currently Susana's Google Apps teacher. Mr. Flores, who is the history teacher, and Mr. Lachelle, who is Susana's social study teacher. And we have Mr. Prunetta, the PE teacher. Team, this is Susana's parents, Rosalba Rosales, and we do not need an interpreter because she does speak English, but as a reminder, Susana is an ELL student. Before I forget, we also have Mrs. Detona, our school psych. Again, thank you all for being here. I know we are here gathered to talk about Susana and the services that she is receiving, if she continues to qualify for math, or if there's any other services that she can be receiving. We're also going to be talking about Susana's accommodations, modifications, and how she's doing in each of your guys' classes, as well as what I've observed from Susana. And Mom, if there's any other concerns that you want to add or questions you may have, please feel free to ask at any time. So before we get started, I do want to give the chance for the teachers to share their input on how Susana is doing, and then we'll go ahead and dig into her academics and her test scores and what they have seen from the school psych in her reevaluation scores. Actually, I'm going to have Ms. Detona go, the school psych, just so that she can give her reevaluation information, and then we can together as a team discuss a little bit more about it. Okay, thank you, Ms. Detona. So as she let us know, she does continue to receive services in math. She is a student who has the ability to have services in special education. Susana has scored in the WIDA scores. We have those scores. We have the winter star scores and the fall star scores. Those scores, the star 360 testing, are tests that the district gives to all students. Susana does take all the state and Susana does take the state and district assessments just like her peers. And to start off, Susana does qualify for her math, but she's also an ELL student, which means she takes the WIDA assessment, and this assessment is just for all the students who receive or have ELL services, not services in general like here in the school, but are considered English language learners. As an 8th grader, she just recently took it in February. There is no scores yet, but we do have her star scores. So in the winter, which was in January, in her math, she went up to a third grade level with 7 months in, whereas at the beginning of the school year, she didn't have a test score and that's probably because she was absent the day that we took it, and maybe she didn't retake it or was pulled to take it. But for reading, Susana did have a scale score of 971, which puts her at a third grade level with 5 months in school. Whereas last year, or sorry, not last year, in the fall of this year, so the beginning of the school year, she had a grade scale of 950, and that put her at a third grade level with 2 months into school. So she has grown from the fall to the winter. It may not seem like a big increase of her progress, but she does she did improve, so that's what we like to see that improvement. Last year, when she took it as a 7th grader, she was at a 3.0 in the spring of 2022. So again, any little progress is great progress. Her state test, the ESPA, when she took that at 7th grade level in the spring, for her ELA, which is not ELA, reading and writing, she scored below. She was below, but she scored a 2,483. And in the math area, she scored a 2,320, which that is well below grade level, but due to her receiving these services in the area of math, that's not uncommon to see. We are going to be working with her in math, but we'll go over a little bit on how that will look like for the rest of the school year until she gets to the high school. But for right now, I want to go ahead and give time for the teachers to go ahead and give their input on how Susana's doing in their class, academically, behavioral, what she's good at, what areas she can go ahead and maybe improve a little bit more. So like they mentioned, Susana, I heard all around that Susana is shy. She is quiet. She's hardworking. She's very well organized, but we do want to see her ask for help, advocate a little bit more for herself. And that is part of her accommodations, where we will check with her frequently, just to make sure that she's getting that understanding and feels comfortable enough to ask for help. Something that we have also noticed about Susana is that she lacks a little bit of confidence, but I remember you, Mom, telling me that years ago, and she didn't have a good experience about asking questions when the teacher would, when she would ask questions, like kids would make fun of her, or the teacher would make comments that Susana like felt like she couldn't ask questions and feel safe about it. We are going to be working with her, giving her all the confidence she needs to gain her own advocacy. Okay. Susana, who is an ELL student, you know, she does well in the communication area, listening, speaking, writing it. Like Mr. Flores said, there is no areas of concern there other than the typical, no major concerns on the grammatical errors, spelling, all that good stuff. Right now, currently, she does have math intervention. Our teacher could not be here due to she was out for an appointment today, Miss Botno, but that's her math intervention teacher. She said Susana does great. She's always motivated, does her work on time, participates when she's called on. Her grade in that class is a B+. In history, she has an A-. In Spanish, Mr. Quiroz, he wasn't able to be here today because he did have an away game and left early for soccer. But in his class, he has an A. For ELA, she has a B+. In science, Susanna has a C minus, and in math, she currently has a D plus. Again, math and science may be because of the math or terminology that is used in those classes, but those are the areas we are helping her with. Okay. Do you have any questions right now so far? No. Okay, so Susanna will be getting, like I mentioned earlier, she will be testing the same test as any other student in her class, district and state assessments. The only accommodations that Susanna will have with the assessments would be she would be able to have text to speech, speech to text. Text to speech is when she says it in the microphone and the microphone picks it up to the computer, and she can talk to the mic for it to type in the computer. Speech to text is when Susanna could read or listen to the text. She is allowed extra time. Susanna will be able to test in a separate location if she feels like she needs it. It would always be provided for her. She will be provided with visuals, multiplication table, number line, calculator when applicable, headphones to block any noise for distraction, scratch paper, and breaks if she needs them, if she's just feeling a little overwhelmed. Susanna will also be taking the same assessments in the when she gets to the high school. But right now she will continue to stay in a resource room with a smaller group of students, just so that she can get the additional help that she needs and feel more comfortable if she needs to ask for questions. Assignments will be shortened for her if we feel like she is showing effort, as well as the breakup of the material into smaller chunks. Susanna does not need an LRE change, meaning her least restrictive environment is going to stay the same. She's going to go from a resource room now to a resource room when she gets to the high school. Currently, she's spending 53 minutes 5 times a week in the school day in a resource room. The rest of the time is spent in a general ed classroom with the rest of her peers. Susanna's goals are for math is that when she next time takes the STAR 360 math score, it would be at, she'll go from a 3.5 grade level to a 4.5 grade level the next time she takes the STAR test. We're hoping that goal can be reached by fall of 2023. Like I mentioned earlier, Susanna's currently at a 3.5 grade level, and with the help of her assignments, her assessments in the classroom, that would help her get to where she needs to be. Another goal that she has is that when by the end of the school year of 2023, Susanna will be able to identify which operation, mathematical operation, she would be needing to use to solve a problem. Currently, she struggles with knowing if she needs to do addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. But we're hoping by the end of the school year, she can go from 40% accuracy of her problems correct to 70% of her problems correct independently, as well as setting up the two-step problem. Okay, do you have any questions as of now? I know we're giving you a lot of information. Okay. Her accommodations are in all her classes, test in a separate location, check frequently for understanding, break up material into smaller chunks. Like I mentioned earlier, calculator, multiplication table, also giving short, concise instructions, text to speech, speech to text, and allow extra time. Susanna will also be able to join any activities that she would want. She's not restricted from any of the activities that she may want to join, any sports. She has pretty good grades. She's very respectful. I know when I talked to you, Mom, you had mentioned, like I mentioned earlier, about the teacher and the past experiences. I have seen Susana grow so much in the last couple months since she's been back, and it's very nice to see that she's more confident. She's so organized. I love when she answers questions and she gets it right, and like the glow on her face is it's so rewarding. But because of this, as a team, correct me if you're wrong, do we agree that Susana does not need the extended school year services? If you guys agree, say aye. Okay. And the reason why we agree that this Susana is not eligible for the extended school year services is because she usually is pretty good about retaining information that was taught to her, and with easy reviews, we feel like she would be picking it up pretty quickly to remember what it was they learned the years past. Okay. Like I said, Susana will be in the math resource room this year, followed with a resource room in the math area next year at the high school. Okay. And the safeguards, here is the copy. I'm sorry, I was supposed to give you this at the very beginning of our meeting, but everybody was signing the form, the paper, the signature page that I was starting to talk to you about the weather. So I misplaced in giving you this. But here are your laws, your rights as a parent with a student receiving services, special education services. If you feel like there's anything that we need to do as her teachers, or we're not doing anything correctly or something correctly, you would like to meet with us or change anything in the IEP, please contact us. We will be more than happy to make another IEP meeting, just another meeting just to go over her IEP. But in more detailed, here is the packet. Please keep this for your records. There will be a copy translated if you'd like. I know you speak pretty good English, but if you do not need a translated copy, a copy of the final IEP will be mailed to you. Is this the correct address that I have on file? Okay, so once that final IEP is completed, it will be sent to you by mail. And do you have any other questions? Okay, so thank you guys for coming. I do appreciate that we all came together in agreement of what we can better help Susana with in the area of math and any other areas that are needed for her to be successful in our class.